We have been standing by all morning long watching Truth Social to see if President Trump would respond to the comments from Elon Musk about the president's tax and spending bill. Elon Musk calls it a disgusting abomination. But as of now, President Trump has yet to respond at all. Calls himself a counterpuncher, but remarkably quiet on this. So what's going on here? With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten. So Elon Musk, in calling this a disgusting abomination, says it will explode the national debt, says it runs counter to all the work he did trying to cut government spending. What's the reality?
Please just never call me a disgusting abomination, John, please.
Never to your face.
Thank you. Behind me is perfectly fine. I mean, look, you know, President Trump wants to send these DOGE cuts to Congress through the rescission process, and that, get this, would only bring down the national debt by about $9 billion. The big, beautiful bill over 10 years, get this, through the roof in terms of the federal deficits and the debt, up $2 trillion. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to know that $9 trillion doesn't come anywhere close to $9 billion comes anywhere close to $2 trillion. So all of DOGE's work that they would send, at least a part of it, to Congress gets completely wiped out, wiped off the map by the big, beautiful bill. No wonder Elon Musk is so upset.
So, as I said, he's taking on this bill. He's mostly critical of Congress here. In a battle between Elon Musk and Congress, who wins?
Yeah, who wins between Elon Musk and Congress? Well, look, Elon Musk is a very popular guy amongst Republicans, a plus 63 net favorability rating. Beats Mike Johnson at plus 46, who, of course, is the Speaker. How about John Thune, the Republican leader in the Senate? Only a plus 30. So if Musk is taking on these two gentlemen, it's not a fair fight. Elon Musk is a very popular dude. But he is nowhere close to where Donald Trump is within the Republican ranks. Look at that, a plus 79 net favorability rating. So if Donald Trump decides to turn his fire on Elon Musk, that is a fight that Elon Musk, simply put, cannot win. If Donald Trump stays out of it, he stands a pretty good chance, Elon Musk does, against Johnson and Thune.
It's interesting because, again, I said Trump has been quiet
Yes.
so far this morning. I wonder if he'll look at this segment, he's a big Harry Enten fan, and say, you know what?
Many are.
My popularity is a lot greater than Elon Musk right now. Maybe I should weigh in. I'll be interested to see if he stays quiet on Truth Social all day. On the issue itself, Harry, when Elon Musk is criticizing the debt and deficits here, how much do voters really care?
Republican voters. They don't care. They don't care. I mean, look, cut taxes even if the deficit increases. You know, you go back 33 years ago, it was just 22% who said cut taxes even if the deficit increases. But the party of fiscal responsibility is no more. Now 74% of Republicans say cut taxes even if deficit increases. So if Donald Trump, more popular than Elon Musk, sticks his neck out, the Republican voters will absolutely be with him because they believe cut taxes even if deficit increases, quite different than the way they were in the early 1990s.
You were no disgusting abomination. You were a glorious miracle
You
every day.
too, my friend.
Thank you, Harry Enten. Appreciate it.
In just a few hours, President Trump is going to host key Senate Republicans from a crucial committee at the White House as he pushes forward on his so-called big, beautiful bill, or disgusting abomination, which is how Elon Musk described it. So according to the president's biggest financial backer, that bill is precisely that. The world's richest man hopped on X Tuesday to call it massive, outrageous, and pork-filled, and says it will add to America's deficit. The social media assault on the bill from one of the president's biggest supporters caught House Speaker Mike Johnson off guard.
My friend Elon is terribly wrong about the one big beautiful bill. Elon is missing it, okay? And it's not personal. I know that the EV mandate, very important to him, that is going away because the government should not be subsidizing these things. But for him to come out and pan the whole bill is to me just very disappointing, very surprising in light of the conversation I had with him yesterday.
While the House Speaker may disagree, several Republican senators who have already voiced concerns over the bill agree with Musk.
New spending in this bill actually exceeds all the work he did to try to find savings, so I can understand his disappointment that the new spending actually would exceed all the work they did to find cuts, and I'd be disappointed too.
Joining me now in the group chat, Evan McMurray Santoro, reporter at Notice, Charlie Dent, former Republican congressman from Pennsylvania, and Kristen Soltis Anderson, CNN political commentator and Republican strategist. I feel like I need to start with a little translation from the House Speaker there, because as soon as you hear "my friend," that's kind of the bless your heart of like Capitol speech. And then the other thing I heard was him mentioning EV credits and sort of seeding the idea that Musk has a vested in, you're nodding, has kind of a vested interest in getting this bill a certain way. I don't know who wants to jump in. There's a lot of angles here.
Oh, well, the angle is, it's funny that Elon Musk said the bill is filled with pork, but he seems to be most upset about the removal of the green energy tax credits, which many could call pork. And so that obviously would benefit him and his company. So I think that's where a lot of the anger is. It's over those green energy provisions.
Yeah.
Although it's likely that the Senate may restore many of those provisions. So maybe Elon Musk will say something nice if they restore them.
And of course, this is happening just after his exit from the White House. And so there's so much speculation about their relationship. But how do you think this actually, how does this affect this congressional legislation?
Well, I think what you said about Mike Johnson is totally right. That was that classic, my friend Elon. He's just a little mixed up.
Yeah.
Very much a different tone when it comes to Musk. I mean, it wasn't long ago, December of last year, right? Musk came out, said a bill that Mike Johnson liked was a bad idea, that spending bill, and it got squashed immediately. Every Republican jumped on this right away. It does not feel like that is where things are going right now. I can say that I have not talked to anyone, my colleagues at Notice, not talked to anybody who thinks that Elon's going to kill this bill with this tweet.
It makes sense given his public polling. Like, he is a very unpopular figure now, but it hadn't been the case with Republicans. Now I'm in your territory polling. Okay, Kristen, don't sit there with your hands crossed letting me ramble.
So Donald Trump is more influential and powerful with Republican politicians than Elon Musk is. And if back in December there were questions about who really is the voice of influence and power, I think that's all been very clarified by the last couple of months. Donald Trump is the one with the influence and power over House Republicans and Senate Republicans. And that is why I agree. I think it's highly likely this bill gets across the finish line. Tweeting is easy, governing is hard.
Okay.
The other thing is that what Musk is pressing for here is for the bill to cut more in spending. And to the extent that there are clashes going on, not all of them are about increasing cuts. You have some folks like Senator Josh Hawley, who's expressed some concern about cuts to Medicaid, saying we've maybe cut too much. So I think ultimately, for those who are saying, look, I'm...
But does it put wind in the sails for the people who are reluctant?
Well,
So,
I mean,
no, hold on one second,
sure,
because I
of course.
think we do have a
Sure,
soundbite here. You remember, where some senators are voicing concerns. People, of course, are watching. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Susan Collins here. Here's what they've been saying.
What we've been hearing mostly from Alaskans is on the Medicaid side, concerns that there may be significant cuts to Medicaid that would further deny access to health care.
But it looks like PEPFAR has been cut, and I consider that to be possibly the most successful public health program that has ever been used in Africa and other parts of the world. So I do not support the reduction of PEPFAR.
So to your point, it's not people who want to spend less. It's people who are like, we need to spend specifically on these things I care about.
Well, I think if the bill comes down to Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins, it will look very different than it looks now. That's true. That's not the pathway for this bill that Republicans are sort of going through here. We have not seen that push in that direction that much. I think that what we're dealing with here is this conversation of how to get these fiscal hawks, right? That's what the conversation was in the House too. So even though the conversation, the pushback from the White House is, Elon only cares about the subsidies, right, and the EV credits, for example. No one said that before when Elon was talking about doing all the things he was doing in the government with his own conflict of interest with his own companies back then, right? They're saying it now because he's saying something that they don't like. But this push towards fiscal responsibility, towards a fiscal responsibility, as those people would say it, that pushing against the deficit, that's a very powerful movement. One of the things about this Elon conversation, we have a powerful lobbyist in the Notice newsletter this morning who is saying that, look, Elon and the talk about the deficit, it will not kill this bill, but I won't say that on the record because I don't want to get on the wrong side of these deficit people, right?
Yeah, 'cause it's
still a very,
meaningful.
very powerful
Yeah.
thing. I don't think it's going to come down to PEPFAR like
Right.
Susan Collins wants. I think it's going to come down to how much are they going to cut these programs and what is the political risk that they run and how can they balance that?
Well, look, I think the Senate at the end of the day is going to do less on cuts, less Medicaid cuts, less cuts to SNAP, less cuts to student loans and other programs and green energy credits, which should please Elon. And they're going to do less on the SALT deduction. They're not going to do a $40,000 deduction.
Yeah, this is a cap for state and
for
local
state and local
taxes.
tax deductions. So just expect that. So the fiscal hawks are probably going to be very disappointed with what the Senate advances. And by the way, it's really rich, though, that Elon is complaining about the pork when, what he's complaining about are things that would actually add costs to the bill by restoring the green energy tax credits, which the Senate will likely do. But that seemed to be his primary complaint.
And
His
to
ox
be
is getting
clear, in
bored.
this process, it goes back to the House because this
Yeah.
is a reconciliation bill, so this conversation is far from over.